The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by Mid-Carolina Service Company.
Mid-Carolina Service Company is the first name to search for your residential or commercial HVAC needs in Lexington and surrounding areas.
Just go holler at Jason and Clint. They'll hook you up on the air conditioners, on the restaurant equipment, refrigerators, refrigeration, ice machine repair. They've been doing this for years. I know them cats forever.
Family owned and operated since 2006, they pride themselves in their quality work and customer relationships. Call 803-356-4153 or visit midcarolinaserviceco.com for a no obligation quote for service today. This episode of Hilltop Glove Podcast is proudly sponsored by Your Dollar Store, located at 3017 Farrell Road in Columbia, South Carolina. Owned by Brian Thomas, Your Dollar Store has been serving the community since June 2021 with a mission to provide fresh produce and essential household items to neighborhoods in need, serving areas like Booker, Washington Heights, and other nearby locations affected by grocery store closures. Your Dollar Store is a convenient one-stop shop for those seeking healthier food options and affordable essentials. Support a local business that's dedicated to giving back. Your Dollar Store, where you can shop, chat, and leave with a smile.
The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by True Brilliance Entertainment.
True Brilliance is a production, promotions, and management company dedicated to connecting artists and producers across the Carolinas to music industry professionals.
Several of their clients have placements both domestic and internationally as a result of their services.
Are you an artist or producer looking to build meaningful relationships within the music industry? Then True Brilliance is for you. Check them out at paramilitary.com. That's spelled P-A-I-R-A military.com.
Welcome to the Hilltop Glove Podcast.
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 The Hilltop Glove Podcast.
Welcome back to the Hilltop Glove Podcast. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with the remarkable April McKnight, a mother, educator, and entrepreneur whose dedication to education and student success is truly inspiring. April McKnight holds a Bachelor's of Arts in Mass Communication from Winthrop University, a Master's of Education, and a second master's degree in Curriculum and Instruction from Grand Canyon University, which she received in 2003. With a strong passion for teaching, April has built a successful career in education characterized by her innovation approach to learning. She is adept at designing creative and engaging activities that motivate students to achieve their highest potential. April's dedication to her students extends beyond academic excellence. She fosters positive relationships with both parents and colleagues, ensuring a collaborative and supportive educational environment. Her commitment to creating a safe and inspiring learning space for all students is unwavering. In addition to her role as an educator in the Berkeley County School District, April is the proud owner of Incredible Minds Tutoring Services. Through her business, she continues to inspire others to pursue educational journeys and strive for personal growth. April's influence as a teacher and entrepreneur is profound as she continues to encourage and uplift every child she encounters, and we are thrilled to have her on today's episode. How are you?
I am doing very well, very blessed.
You have such
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here today, especially. Our only episode today. Reliable episode. But you have a very radio voice. So
I think we're gonna have to talk later.
Yeah.
After this.
Doesn't it? I love it.
Does, yeah.
Thank you.
So we like to start off each episode with a little history about your upbringing. What was it like growing up? You want to take that question first?
Sure. I'm from North Charleston, South Carolina, born and raised. I grew up with my mom and my stepdad, so I had a pretty normal lifestyle. I have two sisters, Tia and Candace, and a stepsister, Leslie, and I just grew up here in the area.
So are you the oldest, youngest, middle?
I'm the middle child.
Ooh.
Middle child. We work hard.
Yes, we do.
Very hard workers. So who inspired you as a child?
For me, I would say it was my band director from middle school. Her name was Angela Alley. That was her name back then. She's still my friend on social media. And I was just this, young black girl from North Charleston, and she came into Alice Burney and helped us see things about ourselves that we didn't see playing clarinet. And she believed in me, and she pressed me, and she pushed me, and she got me to audition for Charleston County School of the Arts. And I got in high school. And I was just so fortunate to be able to be up under her leadership and then become an educator because of her, to pour back into North Charleston.
Wow. That's amazing. She went to Bernie. I was supposed to go to Bernie. Yeah. And then I went to Oak Brook and I met her.
Yeah,
Right.
I would have met her.
Very different. That's inspiring that you found a teacher and she inspired your path in life. So shout out to you, whoever you are. If that's still your name, shout out to you.
So you went to what? So you went to Alice Burney, and then what high school?
I went to Charleston County School of the Arts. I graduated.
School of the Arts, and then okay. So what was it like going to School of the Arts?
It was a big culture shock for me. So it did take a lot to adjust and try to figure out who I was and how I fit in that space with friends who already had friendships that they had nurtured since 6th grade.
Right.
And I came in 9th grade. So it did take some time to adjust and adapt. But I mean, we were the top 18 high school bands in the country my freshman year. So we flew out to Indianapolis, Indiana, to Butler University. I mean, my sorority was also founded there, but connections, of course. But so definitely the experiences, I feel are just things that I'll take away forever. So
that is so dope.
Great experience.
Yeah. They always have that one teacher that changed your trajectory of your whole life. And if you could give her a shout out, or what would you say to her?
She knows. I tag her all the time on social media when they asked on news posts and who's your favorite teacher or who's someone that inspired you. So her name is Angela Alley. And I would just say to her, thank you for believing in me. Thank you for pouring into me. And thank you for pushing me beyond what I can see in myself at the time.
It's always beautiful. That one.
And now you're a teacher, and one of your students will definitely be saying the same thing about you.
Yes,
so
I hope
the cycle will continue.
Yes.
That's
so
awesome.
On the role of being a teacher and an educator, if you could change anything about the system, if you had no restrictions, what would it be? What's one thing that's dear to your heart that you would love to change?
So this is probably going to be one of those unpopular opinions for parents, but very popular for educators. I would say hiring somebody on each grade level to design lesson plans so teachers don't have to, and we could just show up and teach because that's what we're hired to do. So I feel if I could change that would be the biggest thing. If I just want to teach. I think the lesson planning part is we're intelligent, we're professionals, we can read a lesson plan, prepare activities and all the good stuff. So
somebody, it's like programming.
I feel that's doable.
Yeah,
that's what I think. If they could fit it in the budget, so I think so.
I feel
especially
that's
with all this AI stuff
right.
going around.
We just show up, we print, we get the activities and materials together, and then we teach.
So what is the schedule like for an average teacher per day? You guys can't leave the campus to go get food, so how do you plan your lessons? What time period? How long do you have?
For me, I teach elementary at Bowens Corner Elementary in Hanahan, and my schedule is from 6:45 to 2:45. So we have this 6:45 to 7:15 stretch before kids arrive, and then we have another 40-minute break for them to go to related arts, and then we have the last 45 minutes of the day. So I'm not sure how many minutes that is collectively in one day, but that's if there's not conferences or meetings or trainings
in between,
and it goes perfectly, or ideally that's how it looks every day.
That's stressful.
It is. And is it safe to say you take a lot of your work home?
Yes, Sunday evenings is when I'm prepping for the week for sure.
No.
Yeah, I know.
No. We don't get paid for that.
Yeah.
I agree.
No. Okay, we need to work something out. I'm thinking money. I can come in as an independent contractor to do something like that.
Help us out. We need some lesson planners for sure. So yeah.
And what are some hardships you face as an educator?
I would say this is my 11th year. I think the village structure has deflated or it's just not present anymore. And since we don't have the structure of the village, it's hard to be in partnership with parents and with colleagues and with students and really build those relationships and build rapport. So even if you see a student at a game and a security guard or an officer or a coach or someone redirects or gives a reminder to a child, I think that we just have lost those type of connections because people are a certain way about their children. So I think the hardest thing is just building community and building connection with parents in partnership to support their kids. It's kind of like we're fighting against the parents to help them to get to support their child, which is what we're there to do to begin with.
Right. We all need to look at the bigger picture.
Right.
Yep. So basically you would want the community and parents to support you guys with that. Okay.
So can you share a story or inspiring moment from your teaching career that has had an impact on you?
I would say last year, my 10th year, moving to Bowen's Corner in Hanahan, I taught a GT class, and it was really on the back end of me feeling really at a low point in education and thinking about leaving the profession. So I was like, I got hired, kind of got thrown into a new school and a new space that I didn't even know existed 9 minutes from my house. And I had the pleasure of working with kids who were just so motivated. And I don't think I've ever had that experience, like, with everyone in the classroom being motivated. Like, you know, you have your handful, or some of them you have to give an extra bit of attention, but like everyone cared about their work. Everyone cares about their progress. Everyone wants to do better and do the extra credit and get the assignment done. They care about the debates. So when you have kids who are motivated internally themselves, then it creates in you this drive to really want to show up every day in a way that's like, I want to go above and beyond for them because they go above and beyond for themselves, for their families, and for me too. So last year was really, really a good year for me. And I still get to see them in the hallways, and I get to see them at the end of the day. And sometimes I can be having a very challenging day at school this year. And I'll see one of them and they just give me a hug or hold my hand. They're fourth graders, but they still hold my hand and they hug me and they love on me. And it's just like the perfect dose of what I need to get through the rest of the day. And it provides the solace of like, today was rough and it was hard, but then I get to see those kids last year that I really made an impact on. So.
And so for those who don't know, can you explain what GT means?
It's the Gifted and Talented program, basically where students are identified based on their academic abilities.
Okay. So what advice would you give to an up-and-coming teacher or an aspiring entrepreneur that wants to work with children and in that education space?
In terms of entrepreneurship, I would just say start. For me, with my tutoring business, I feel like I sat on it for so many years until a point where I was just like, you got to go. You got to go. And I think we get in our own heads and we get in our own ways and we overplan and we overthink and, you know, we have all the things ready to go and we still feel like we're just not ready yet because of what somebody else has going on. And I think if you know that if you're in alignment with God and with purpose, that there's enough room and space for everyone. So I feel like for me, I didn't learn much of what I know now about tutoring and leading a tutoring business until I got started. And that's when I realized that God started putting the domino effects into like being at the Opportunity Center after I had been going to library and struggling the very next month of me starting. And like meeting, you know, you all, I hope in different places that can help us, you know, like really grow as young entrepreneurs. So I feel like just start is the thing. And I think everything else will work itself out. If you have a solid plan, business plan, you've done some of the formal logistical things, it'll all work out.
That's good advice.
That
I
is
think
really
sometimes we get in our own head and we're our own worst enemy and that fear takes over. We just can't move. We get stuck and frozen.
Stagnant for sure.
Yes.
How did you think of tutoring? Why tutoring?
Well, for me, even though I've had some challenges in the classroom because it is a challenging profession, I still like to pour into children. So I felt like tutoring was a way for me to take my own experiences and knowledge and then kind of do it the way that I want to do it in a way that's still effective. So I don't have have to be under the umbrella or restrictive nature of what the schools say or what curriculum I have to use or how long to do it or what that looks like. I get to control that and still get to impact children in that way. So
now, when you talked about the curriculum and the standards that you have to follow, is it hard to create your lesson plan around the standards?
Well, my whole team works together. So I started last year with that. We, like, one teacher does like ELA last year, one person did math, one person did social studies, one science. So this year we do the same thing. We have a math and science team. So we all work together to put the plans together. Okay. And it's not difficult. It's just time consuming, I think, is the big thing. And then we have curriculum in the classrooms that we are suggested to use, but that don't necessarily work out or always align with the standards. So then we do have to pivot and make different decisions regarding curriculum resources. So I think that's part of the challenge.
Oh, it's me. Is it me?
No.
Oh.
Sometimes we just have dead moments like that. But you mentioned resources. Do you feel like as an educator you have enough resources for your students?
You mean like in terms of like supplies,
money, and maybe technology? Like, say if the kids are trying to learn on a different type of tablet, database, or software, do you have resources
I feel like
available?
It all depends about where you are. Like, I feel like I'm in a place right now where we have such a strong parent support and PTO and fundraising that if we really, really wanted something, they would work hard to get it for us and for the students.
Good.
So I just think it's all about the funding and like what type of school it is. And I think that's what creates maybe some of the challenges in getting like the money for certain like technology or projects or maybe events or situations. So this year I would say no.
I didn't, like, I've heard of the PTO, but I didn't know what their role was within a school. And I didn't know that they had the ability to supplement school and district funding for students.
I guess for us, how do I describe it? Like, this is my first experience being in something to this extent. But I mean, like, they do everything from getting hot chocolate and coffee for teachers and maybe duty-free lunches. And like they'll have supplies set out for teachers to get for the classroom at the beginning of the year. And they have a form if you need something to if kids are having an event or they want to have like engaging creative minds come in or the aquarium come in for in-house field trips, they do supplement some of the funding for that. So, yeah.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So you play a lot of roles. You are a full-time educator. Yeah. You are a full-time entrepreneur. How do you balance all of the roles and responsibilities? You are a mom. You have a lot of different roles that you play. Yeah. So what are some ways that you balance all of those roles?
I would say for me, I think since tutoring and education go hand in hand, I think that's a benefit because it's not like I have to separate the two so much. A lot of times I'm kind of like divvying from each of them anyways to get what I need to do both. So I think it's about compartmentalizing. I have to section my day in my head to not be overwhelmed because I think about me working all day long and then having to go tutor for 3 more hours and then having to show up to workout class right after that. So I think compartmentalizing and being present in the role and the space at that moment is really important. And that kind of helps like me figure out like my time. And I'm like, okay, well, this part of the day's over. Now I'm going to go tutor now. And I think when I take pauses like that and really focus on the moment, it really causes me to like be able to balance.
Get that breath in.
Yeah. And then same thing with the Sunday evenings. I know we talked about earlier about me doing my lesson plans on Sunday evenings. Same thing with tutoring. So I kind of sit down and do both. And then for me, it knocks it out for the whole week. And at least I'm prepared, or at least semi-prepared. Like the slides are done and the presentations are done. And like I have to just show up and print out and set up. And that's really the gist of it. But it does make me feel super prepared for my week.
I have a question.
That's a lot.
If you knew then what you know now, would you still choose the same path? Would you still become an educator?
Or would you pivot?
Yeah.
I would pivot.
Oh.
Into what? Into what?
Yeah, we would have to talk after this episode. So I could tell you all my plans because I do have a big thing coming up, and
Okay.
it's just a thing that I can't talk about just quite yet. So.
You got some things in the work. Okay.
Yeah, we have some things in the works for sure. So I love education, and I've loved the experiences it's afforded me, but there's still lots of challenges with it, of course.
Yeah. So I have a question as an educator or teacher. Do you feel supported?
Like I said, I think it all depends on the school and the space. In my school, yes.
Yeah.
I have really wonderful admin. I mean, it could be like something as small as a parent hiccup, and they like shield us and like protect us and like talk highly of us and talk about what they see in our classrooms every day. And they're really supportive in that way, to a point where I no longer get stressed or get anxiety about any type of interaction or, you know, something that may come off a certain way from a parent, because I know that my admin's going to support me. So I just think it's about where you are, like where the school is, which is why choosing your school is really important. So I feel supported. And same thing with parents. I have really supportive parents at my school. So, I mean, like above and beyond parents that will come in and volunteer and stuff your Tuesday folders. And what else can I do for you? And print off your labels. And I work at a
Right. And this is why I ask these questions, because I don't know anything from the teacher's point of view. So I'm curious to know, how can the community support you, and what do you guys really need? Because, you know, your job is really important.
Yes.
You're changing minds.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm thinking like in terms of nonprofits and churches and other community entities, I think we can all come together for more supply drives, mentorship, helping support these kids in their academic goals and sports, and really leading them in just different areas that can cause them to be successful. So like if we're all working in collaboration to pour into these kids, again, the village effect, I think that's going to help prepare this next generation to be, you know, productive citizens in our country. So
I agree. I have another question. I'm sorry, I'm full of questions today that are not on the script. So you said your lesson plans, they're engaging and you add creativity into it. How do you do that?
Like for me, I'll go with tutoring. I feel like I put myself in the position of a child. Like, would I want to sit in my own classroom? Would I want to sit for this boring hour-long tutoring session that my mom drove me to because she feels like I need? So for me, I'm really big on building relationship and rapport. And I think that's huge because a kid is not going to perform or do anything for you if you don't know them. Yeah, so I think starting foundationally at just getting to know them. So I'm big on like my dice breakers and would you rather questions and fun brain breaks and cute riddles that kind of make them laugh and kind of like blow their minds a little bit at the end of our sessions, including affirmations to really affirm these kids and let them know who they are and whose they are is huge for me. And then my activities, I feel like I'm still using some of the curriculum resources that I already use as an educator, but then too, like I've done creative things like for a friend who's learning how to write, we're like writing in sand, or if not sand, we're using baking sheets and we have the letters already pre-drawn on there, and then they're using dry erase markers to trace the letters on a baking sheet. So like you have to just find resources and everyday things. Like I'll be thinking about like playing cards. I'm like, well, playing cards have numbers on them. I can take out the jack and the queen and the king, and we can do facts for this. We can do I declare war. I declare war. You got an 8, I got a 9, we got 72. So now we're learning our facts, and that's like super fun. You can do the same thing with Uno. So I just try to find ways to make it fun for them, and then that's how you get them, because then they want to come back to the next session and the next session and the next session, and then it becomes this thing of, okay, I'm having a lot of fun, but I'm also learning and growing at the same time. So
do I hear consultant work?
Right.
You know, all this, you know, pouring into, I'll take all the pouring into for sure.
We were just talking about that on the ride down here, consultants.
Yeah. I mean, this year I made some goals for my business, and I'm still obviously within the first year. March 2nd will be a year for me. And I've like added like small group Saturdays, which has become successful. And I've added like our monthly newsletter featuring students of the month, and things like that. But I've thought about education consulting and adding that as a piece. And me and some business friends actually had a meeting at the Opportunity Center and made our vision boards and all the things. And one of the things we said, what's your first in the first 3 months, your first quarter goal that you want to do. And I was like, well, my small group Saturdays, I want to go ahead and start getting those out. And then I want to go ahead and implement or have in place my first professional development, like something I've already put together and rehearsed, and I'm ready to go. So that is something that I'm interested in doing as well.
Well, please let us know, because I love professional developments. Ever since I started working at the Department of Education, is professional developments all the time. And I'm like sending them to Chantelle, like, here, you want to go to this? You should go to this. Conferences, professional developments, workshops, trainings. I love that stuff. Because adults, we need that too, not just for the kids.
Definitely.
But I mean, I think we should start doing that for kids. That would be pretty cool.
Well, I have another question on that line.
Okay.
You talked about how nonprofits and other community organizations and the community itself can band together to provide some additional needs for students. But what exactly do you think that should look like?
I don't have all the answers, but I would say maybe same thing with, I guess, what we're talking about right now. Like maybe there could be certain workshops where you have engineers in the community that are coming out, and maybe they're having a STEM event that really intrigue young children or young people who are interested in Legos and robotics and things like that. Or it could be a supply drive one month, and we're getting all the supplies for certain teachers in the local area or certain schools in a certain Tri-County area. Or it could be fundraising and getting like money ahead of time for school and for certain events and sporting events, and again for certain schools it could be haircuts. So it could just be things that anything that I guess kind of going around to the schools and maybe just asking, like surveying teachers, educators, principals, admin, maybe even students and parents, and saying like, what do you need? We want to help, but we don't know where you need help or how we can help, and just asking those questions, like how you were saying, you don't know if you don't know. So then asking those questions are important.
So for Incredible Minds Tutoring, what do you need?
For me, I need books. I've been fortunate enough to like work in certain summer camps in certain situations, and they're like, hey, we have all these extra books or these extra like things, and I'm like, well, I'll take them, because I can definitely like put them into or give them to kids that I tutor. So I would just say books, math manipulatives, reading manipulatives like letters, magnetic letters, so things like that to help with teaching phonics, with teaching math, and then with giving out, like I like to give out things. So, and I think books is the big one. I'm at a point now where I'm getting to my older books now, but the older books still work. And then the kids, they're still excited about those too, but I'm getting a little low on my books. So yeah.
Do you have a certain target audience for your Incredible Minds business, tutoring business, or any grade level?
Oh, okay. For me, I had a friend that was 3. She's 4 now, so from about 4 years old to 6th grade.
Okay.
And I have a big range, and then handwriting, social studies, science, writing, project, essay assistance, math, reading, phonics. Okay. So basically anything within that realm of those grade levels, I like to do.
So as a parent, what is that sweet spot of knowing when your child may need tutoring?
I think a lot of times parents start to panic at my child has a C. And I think when they're adjusting or transitioning into a new grade level, you have to give them time to figure out themselves with this teacher, with the new grade level, with new friends, with new social settings. And I think once you kind of give them time to adjust within that first quarter, if it persisted like past second quarter, then maybe I would get a tutor. If the child is failing and the teacher's reaching out and they're having conferences and they're expressing concerns, then I would also get a tutor as well. Gotcha. So I just wouldn't go and jump ship at, they get a C and then we're like, oh, we need a tutor, because they're not there. There's learning curves and there's challenges to learning. I think sometimes we don't want our children to struggle in learning, but part of learning is struggling. So.
That's a word.
Yes. Yeah. That was good. So you are a mother, right?
I am.
Okay, I didn't want to put anything on you, because I was like, I thought she was a mother.
I am. My son just turned 14.
Okay,
he's a big boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask you, what are some techniques or methods that you've taught your son over the years?
Like, this is my 11th year, so I started teaching when he was 3 years old, and I feel like teaching has made me a better parent. And I say that because you go through all these trainings and professional developments, and sometimes you're like, oh my goodness, not another one of these. Like, I'm so tired of these. But obviously, as professionals, we do have to be developed because things are changing and within education. But I would say, like, how do I say it? This is more like Christian-wise or biblical. Like, when I'm teaching in my classroom and I'm saying the same things over and over and over and over and over again, and I'm like, you guys, I'm like, sit down, or, follow directions, or do your work, or get on task. Same thing with my son. I'm like Peyton, like, you could just do this thing, or just do this, just do this. I'm telling you, I got it. I got your back. I've been through these things. If you just listen to me, I got it. And I think that what sustains me with my grace in parenting and my grace in teaching is the grace that we're given by God. Because I think about how many times I've ran in the wrong direction intentionally, or I said that prayer of forgiveness and I knew what I was getting ready to do. And then God just so gently over and over again still calls your name and still yearns after you. And he does it in a way that's gentle. He doesn't do it in a way that's always sometimes like how we get. We're like, just listen to me, sit down, follow directions, do this, sit down, do your homework. And I think a part of that, that's what sustains me as a teacher, and that's what sustains me as a parent, because the same things that we see within our own children and students is the same thing God deals or sees in pertaining to us. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I feel like that I've learned from teaching and parenting combined. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, you answered that beautifully. I hope we got that clip for you guys as a reel, because that was great. People need to hear that. I was about to say, do you feel like you're walking in your purpose?
I do feel like I'm walking in my purpose. Like I said, we're going to have a conversation after. Working with children is absolutely what I know I'm placed here to do in the context of a classroom, always, maybe not so much, which is what the tutoring business startup has obviously been the reason behind. But I mean, I also teach Vacation Bible School with 13 to 15-year-old girls. I teach youth church tomorrow, the high school students. So this is something that I'm super dedicated and passionate about. So I know that, but I also feel like there's more. Yeah. And I know like at the end of last year, I've been feeling this big tug. And I couldn't tell what the change was going to be, but I know what it's going to be now. So there's some other things in the works for sure. Okay.
So God had his hands on her like my child.
Yeah.
You're going to be doing a lot more.
It's not just about me, but I think it's about all of us. I think our parents, and their generation got stuck in this, I have to do the same thing for 20 or 30 years. And because I put this work into this one profession, then I've retired and I'm successful. And I think it just looks different for our generation, because just because you were this one thing during this time period and this one thing during this time period and same thing with the other, all of these things are circling back to lead you to your ultimate purpose. And it's okay to change and to transition and to realize that 10 years there and this 10 years here can all lend itself to you serving your ultimate purpose and what God's called you to do. So
I agree. I can't wait for your podcast. I just can't wait for your podcast.
Well, I have to make you nervous now with all this.
But we answered all the questions and some, right? And some. That's how you know she's an educator, because she got straight to the point, didn't fall off track or anything. Would you like to shout out your business? How people find you?
Sure.
Locate you?
So it's called Incredible Minds Tutoring Services, and I am housed at the Opportunity Center. You can follow me on Facebook or Instagram, and I'm also an author, and I wrote a book. It's called For My Good, and it's on Amazon, and it's just a book about my cancer survivorship and to inspire young people that have to go through that as well, because I had cancer when I was 16 and 17.
Wow. Yeah, we're going to have to get you on for another episode.
Yes.
Because I didn't even know any of that, but I would love to explore that more, because we haven't touched that topic during our podcast. So
it'll be 20 years in December. So
look at God.
Congratulations. Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you for an incredible episode with Incredible Minds.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, in no time. we would like to say thank you for everyone tuning in, and thank you for Chantelle for filling in for Anwar today.
Thank you for having me.
DJ and what? Sorry, you guys know him as DJ and what. But Chantelle is my friend from Charleston, and she has a business herself. She does a lot of things. And I appreciate her because she was great on this episode. You're a natural.
Thank you.
Actually,
I received that.
Yeah,
Thank
you're a
you.
natural. Anytime you want to fill in, that's fine with me. Okay. But you guys, tell someone you love them. And this is us signing off from the Hilltop Glove Podcast.
The Hilltop Glove Podcast.